Hey guys, Stealth here, with a bit of an unusual 10v10 tactical today, as we're going to be following Shota, who is using a Swedish support deck. Now a Danish support deck you can usually gather, that's going to be the automatics, but a Swedish support deck is a bit unusual, in the sense that he is going to be fielding a Bekan 1C and providing artillery support to his team. Now provided that you don't have too many people thinking the same thing, and all providing artillery support, you can usually get away with this. And having one heavy artillery unit that can pump out round after round after round will help your team. You may be saying, yeah, well, he's not going to have any frontline units, so he won't really hold his own weight. Maybe. It depends on what unit he is going to field, and if he does field the right units and he provides the right artillery support, then he can be a decisive factor in the team in itself. In this game, he's going to be fielding one Bekan C, a Rover AA missile jeep, a logistics truck, a Recon manpad, and a jet. That's what he says in the description of this replay. So we can see quite a few different units, but the most important unit for him by far is going to be his artillery unit. And he's going to ramp up quite the interesting score. Now the interesting part about artillery is that you always need to pick your targets with care. Tanks are usually not a good artillery target. The only exception would be the Atacams, of course, the M270, but otherwise you don't want to be firing at tanks with your artillery. You do want to be firing your artillery at units such as lightly armored vehicles. Vehicle transports, infantry transports, infantry, AA guns, stuff that does not have a lot of armor. Now I'm not sure why, but I'm not seeing any units from Shota at the moment. So he might still be bringing those in. For now we have Stonio over on the right. We have Plasma providing recon there. And Stonio is going with a really unusual tank there. The AMX-40. I have not seen this thing being used in tacticals, and I have played quite a few. The AMX-40 is one of the few French tanks that can fire on the move, although its stabilizer is still not fantastic at only 30%. Armor penetration is very high at 19. It can pump out 9 rounds, so it can do quite a lot of damage. The thing is that its armor is lacking for an 80-point tank. It only has 12. Tanks that are not lacking in armor are the M1A1HC Abrams, which is currently taking the scenic route and getting totally and utterly stuck inside this little village over here. What the hell is this driver doing? This is looking ridiculous. Yeah, just drive over the house, see if anyone cares. Driving in reverse towards the enemy. Trying to find a little road through this town, but nope, we're going to go crashing through the backyards here. What is this guy doing? There, he finally made it to the edge of the forest, and he is getting his first kill right away in what seemed to be a transport. Over towards the left, we have Boza firing Eric's missiles at anything that gets too close, with support from a Challenger 1 Mark I. Another interesting combination here, as the Erics can also fire at infantry. So having these guys inside the town, at least if you are the first guys to arrive, and providing a Challenger 1 Mark I for support will definitely work. As you can see, Boza getting some definite kills over on this flank. Here comes the Bekan 1C. Stats-wise, Bekan 1C has 12 rounds a minute rate of fire, putting it way up there with mortars for a 155mm gun. So you can see turret rotation speed is also very nice. Aim time is pretty damn good for this unit, and it has to be if you want to get that 12 rounds a minute rate of fire. First couple rounds are going in, and he is going to fire his artillery at this position, which might contain some sort of support units. At least he's not firing at the T-80UM yet. While the Bekan 1C can fire a lot of rounds, it is quite the hungry artillery piece, especially considering that high rate of fire. So he has explicitly kept his fob to keep this thing firing. And let's see if he's going to get any points. So far he has already gotten 100 points. And considering that this is the only unit that he has, this has to be the unit that he just killed over here. He says 100 points, so I'd say... Oh, look at that. That was even a CV that he killed. I was going to say it's probably a Tunguska, but it's a CV. I was hiding out in that tree line. Pretty much an accidental death. Another CV has been spotted. Artillery is going in. And someone else provided artillery fire as well. I think that was Boza. By the looks of it, the CV, considering we cannot see a corpse, is still there. More artillery fire being put onto these targets. Nothing yet in the sense of kills. Here come the artillery rounds. Let's see if they can nail those Igla guys. Shota's rounds are landing. No hit. The second one might be better off. Nope, nothing there. Over to the right, red seems to be pushing. Rezvetkas are coming in. The T-80UM and the T-72B are providing quite a bit of a challenge to any of these vehicles that they have left. Seems that the AMX-40 did not quite perform as expected. Or maybe you should say it did perform exactly as expected, in the sense that it went down very, very quickly. The T-72 is completely undamaged, and they're now trying to recon the Hussards over here with 1 Ural. These things might be blind as a bat, but you don't want your Hussars to open up. So just sending them through will really force them to either respond with a tank or with firing from the Hussards. And the tank response is exactly what they got. T-80UM and the T-72B do not really have a shot at the HC at the moment, because these little structures here are providing just enough cover for the tank. But the right flank, unfortunately, is not quite as lucky. Here's a request for artillery, and he says that this is a priority target. If this thing goes down, then they can finally fly in aircraft to try and kill these tanks. The AA went down, so they should now be able to fly in with a helicopter or an airplane to kill at least one of these tanks. The T-72B, quite heavily armored at 18 points, and this is usually something you can kill with one missile run from an airplane. The T-80UM, not so much, but it has been damaged, so they might still be able to get it. Now, if you are considering playing artillery on a map like this, you need to be constantly looking all over the map for targets of opportunity. You need to be aware of what's going on left. You need to be aware of if there are any targets in the middle, or if you should be focusing your attention on the right. Right now, he is focusing his attention on the right, and I did say don't fire at tanks. There is one exception, and that is firing at tanks to try and keep them stunned or panicked, making them less effective. And there goes another Rozvedka group. If you keep a tank stunned, it's going to be unable to move, and if you keep it panicked, it's not going to be able to do as much damage. So if they can put some fire onto this T-72B and then fly in with an aircraft to get the kill, not that one, then that would help out the team. For now, he is firing at another command helicopter here, which is a bit of an unusual CV choice, but alright, let's go with it. If they can get the kill there, that's going to give them another 100 and... I wouldn't be surprised, 110 points. Kith is flying... Kith is flying in with an intruder, being challenged by the Su-27 and killed off before he was able to drop the bombs by the looks of it. Artillery going in, killing a 100-point command helo. It's not the only CV that they have, as the Stapsdaling does not have control of this zone. Over to the right, the T-72B has been kept at bay, and I think that they might not have that much recon left, meaning that red is getting a bit nervous about attacking, especially considering that the Tor was killed off over here. They don't really have any AA either, so they have to pull back. Otherwise they're going to get attacked by airstrikes. Shota very wisely moving his Bacan after firing a couple of rounds to make sure he does not get countered. Considering the amount of units that I'm seeing on the field, I don't expect him to get countered, but better safe than sorry. Especially in a 10v10 tactical, where 130-point artillery units is a massive investment. And you can see that he did already make more points than he has spent on this Bacan. Although technically, I think we should be able to, or should be including the FOB in the price tag as well. because without the fob the backhand wouldn't do that well. And even then, a 75 point fob and a 130 point artillery unit still comes down to 205 points. He already scored 295, so he already got more than he paid for. Over towards the back end of Alpha here, or Anna for red, there is a bit of an incursion from Scots. And without any kind of infantry to counter that, the only real option that they have is the Coyote. This would be an ideal target to put a few artillery rounds into, to just provide suppression fire. Artillery rounds are coming in, but this is just the mortar from Boza. Let's see if Shota is firing. No, not just yet. It seems that Red's pushing again, and has managed to kill off the HGM F3 squad that was defending Foxtrot. So right now there's really nothing left defending this flank. Hussars, Small and a VTT are not really going to provide all the firepower that you need to kill super heavies. So let's see how they're going to tackle this threat for now. Shota, considering he does not really have that many other targets to fire at, is now firing at the tank. You can see that it does only one bit of damage per hit that comes in, and not even that. The tank is getting shaken. It's panicked now, doing 8 hit points left, but really, it is not going to be very effective. You're going to have to fire round after round after round at a vehicle that is almost constantly moving. So actually getting the kill there is going to be real difficult. AMX-13 pulling back as the tank pushes in. Thanks to being panicked, the tank is not that likely to get the kill, but the T-80UM apparently did get the kill. Although it only fired one of those Ingvar missiles, or Invars. Not really the right weapon type for a kill like that, but hey, got the job done. The Abrams is being forced to pull back. Now, I'm really not sure why people are turning off their weapons like this. The M2 and the M240... I mean, the tank would always engage with the M256 gun. Why you would turn off your machine guns is a complete mystery to me. I don't see any reason for this. So, Bjarnis, if you are watching the video, please provide a comment as to why you would possibly want to turn off your guns on the Browning and the M240. Shota's again firing, and this time he's picking a target that's a bit easier to kill, which is another AA gun. It's only 35 points, but the more AA they can clear out, the better it will be for them to take care of these very, very aggressive tank maneuvers. And this thing, of course, is very easy to hit. First round seemed to have splashed it. Second round, no hits. Third round, I'd say that was right on top of the vehicle, and there it is, 35 points. Now the Bacan 1C is such an aggressive artillery unit that it will usually keep firing until all 14 rounds are spent. So you have to manually take this thing off target and either tell it to move or to cease fire, or it will just keep firing at a position that has already been eradicated. Tomcat is engaging an Su-27M at long range, but gets hit or at least attacked by an artillery battery right there. That would be my next artillery target. And the Tomcat makes it out. If you want to fire a couple of rounds there, you're probably going to get another good kill. Considering though by the rate of fire from the AA unit, I would say that that was a 5 HE missile launcher, possibly 6. So it might have been a Strela or a Thor. Sorry, a Tor. Probably one of those two. Jaguar's coming in, trying to get a side shot on the tank, and together with a missile from the HGM Milan F3, they have managed to kill it. There's a missile coming in, and the F7B will probably get the kill on the Jaguar. Yep, Jag down. They have managed to kill one of the tanks, but they're not quite out of the woods yet. The left flank is similarly in trouble, although they aren't fielding infantry that is of that high quality. This is only reserve squads. These guys are really not any kind of match for Delta Force, unless they manage to push so much infantry into this position that they're going to get overwhelmed. But I really doubt that that's going to happen, and the guy just left the game. Not sure if he disconnected or surrendered, but I think that he disconnected, considering he didn't say he surrendered but just left. So he might have just pressed Alt F4 and quit out of the game like that, or he had some sort of issues with his internet connection. The M101HC is now completely stuck. It is out of fuel. It does have some rounds left, but the fuel issue is critical. If this thing is forced to sit here like that, then this could very well happen. It's a bit of an expensive solution to a problem that is not that valuable. At 155, I would take an SU-27M and not that much of an artillery strike, which, by the way, has not been able to hit anything. And that was just enough fuel to get the M101HC safely tucked in between these buildings, so it can now get repaired and refueled, but especially refueled. The left is still being pushed back and forth. It seems that Delta might have been killed off after all, but I doubt that was due to the reservists. I think there were some fire support vehicles in the back there. We now have a jet flying right over Echo. I think they have managed to evac it, but it probably did not get challenged whatsoever, considering that the entire right flank for Blue has no AA, and the left flank has a similar issue. Short of this RBS-90, which is in a position here to counter helicopters or aircraft, they have nothing in the sense of AA. Not a single unit. So that's why the jets are able to fly as unchallenged as they are. Shota has already spotted another targeting opportunity here. He saw that the Tor was probably, or was it the Buck? Anyway, the RA unit was probably moving towards this position, so he's already firing at the position where it's likely going to be. In the meanwhile, Rozvedkas are pushing in. They're getting engaged by the VTT, the Recce and the HGMLN F3, but fortunately the M101HC was able to kill them. There's the 85-point kill. Looking at the platform, I'd say that we are looking at a dead book. So that's another AA unit that he's been able to kill, putting his score at 415, and he's now providing a bit of support for his allies here, which are really the only hope of trying to kill this tank. The tank has been damaged and it is getting some sort of fuel issues. Missile goes into the Abrams. Abrams shrugs it off, fires again, hits the targeting computer, so that this thing can no longer fire on the move. Firing computer reset means the stabilizer is down. He moved, missile got off course because the stabilizer failed and the tank died. So now Blue might be able to push up, provided that there is no sort of threat from air units. And you never know, there just might be. Rozvedkas are firing at the Abrams, missing the target, but the Abrams is a bit worried about that. You can see he's immediately reversing, increasing the distance, and this is exactly when you'd want to turn on all of those machine guns. He's probably going to force ground now. Yep, ground attack fire. Not sure if he got the kill there. The Bekan 1C is silent for the moment. It has not fired in a while. The last kill it got was that artillery unit. Or sorry, was that AA unit. And it seems that there are plenty more targets around. That was a resupply truck, considering the way that it blew up. MTLBV is not really worth artillery rounds, let alone a missile from the HGMLN F3. That was one wasted missile for 26 armor penetration. They picked a target with 1 armor. Oh well. I would personally always leave that to the tank. And you might be saying, well, he wanted to get the kill. Yeah, but these missiles are expensive, and you only get 6. On the left, Commander Toby has managed to get a couple of Vizatkari units all the way inside that town, due to some clever smoking and coming through a route where there is no fire support. And he's not the only one engaging there. There's also Stur, who is pushing with Spetsnaz Gru. They are taking artillery fire and fire from the Smalls, so they might not even make it to the town. Green Jackets are shrugging off the fire from the Vizatkari and dealing with these guys, but the Erics might still go down. Erics, 1 guy left. Yep, they have been able to kill this guy. Finally. They will definitely be needing resupplies, but overall, Blue is doing quite well. They are 800 points ahead of Red, or at least near enough. And, whoa, what would you be? Very stealthy recon squad. 5-man, another group of Reserkas. Engaging the HE Gemelana 3, almost killing them, and that would have cost them another 25. TC-100 surrenders, who is one of the guys from Red, as Blue is pushing increasingly deep into the Red Fort territory. The Bacan is still silent, although this might be a round from the Bacan. Yep, incoming for maybe CV. Pretty much a wildfire guess. Yep, he did get the CV for 100 points. He was probably laughing at his keyboard after getting an accidental death like that. So well done there. If you have an artillery unit and you have still enough supplies left, well, you might as well hazard a guess. Left flank still heavily contested, but they have found another command unit, and this is the only one that Red has left here. The Panzer Grenadiers are probably not going to be able to engage the command unit right now, as they are dealing with the... What is that? Is that Recon infantry? Nigel's trying to pull them back and trying to provide Martyr 2 fire. Martyr 2 is firing at something else in that tree line over there. Situation like this... Let me pause that for a minute. I would definitely push in the Martyr. The infantry, the Recon infantry there, does not have an AT weapon that is very good. And the Martyr 2 has so much frontal armor that it could probably be used as a bit of a distraction, so that the Panzer Grenadiers might make it out. You could say, yeah, it's only 20 points. Yeah, but in tactical, any single point will count. Looks like that might have been some near-friendly fire from either Shota or another artillery unit. Tomcats engaging, getting the kill there, and trying to get some other kills on the other aircraft here. Panzer Grenadiers look like they might still make it out alive. Nope, they died. Damn. Shota, as a good support player, is still providing support with his Scania. He's repairing the Abrams, he is providing fuel and reinforcements for the units that may have been damaged here. I believe the Recce fired at least a couple of rounds from their C-15. And over towards the middle, we can see a helicopter just flying through. And thanks to the total and utter lack of AA from Blue, it is just flying right to where the CV might be. Unfortunately for Red, these things are very, very bad at spotting stuff. Poor optics means that this unit has to rely on the optics from the OT-65. Barnes thinks that it might be a good idea to retreat before he gets spotted. That's exactly what they wanted to force him to do. That's how they lose Delta. Stur has surrendered, which is a Red 4 player, surprisingly. But he might be considering, well, at this point the game is pretty much lost. Blue has Alpha and Fox, completely unchallenged. Delta has been lost by both parties, meaning no one's getting the income. And with all the CV kills that Shota has been getting, they are not that likely to capture the terrain anytime soon. And meanwhile, Shota is bringing in some reinforcements, some recon units provided by an HKP-4C. Let's hope that this thing does not come under fire from that jet. Remember that you can land helicopters, and if you do so, then you will make sure that the helicopter cannot get engaged by any kind of airplane, unless it's doing a strafing run. So if you are finding yourself heavily challenged by a couple of aircraft, just land. Just land the damn helicopter, and you're going to be surprised at how effective that can be. Blue has finally brought in one AA unit, and it did try to return fire at the F5B. There's also a Mistral now. But unfortunately it got panicked, and I gotta say, it is lucky to be alive, as Kith is also pointing out. That rocket plane should have been perfectly capable of nuking this AA unit, and it is now getting killed off by a strafing run from the F7B, combined with fire coming in from the M2 Urn. Blue has spotted another CV, so I'm really expecting, yep, there it is, Aim strain is saying, look, there's an artillery target there, and some more over here, by the way. And the Bacan might already be firing. Although I think that Shota at the moment is managing his HKP-4C. If you are managing an artillery unit, always have it under a hotkey. So that if someone puts down an attack marker, you can just press spacebar, jump to the attack marker. And considering that this is his most important unit, I would designate it Unit 1, so Control 1. Click 1, right click, and jump back to the unit that you were commanding. He was forced to drop off these Volkskamjäger a bit early. They're going to have to walk a long while before they get anywhere near Bravo. And that throughout open terrain. Saratov is now saying, look, there's 3 kills here. 160 points, and the Nighthawk says, thank you very much, and comes in and gets the kill. Blue, almost 900 points ahead. Shota has now fired at the UAZ. So this thing is going to go down soon, unless the Abrams manages to get the kill. I think the Recce just retreated behind the tree line and is now unable to spot them. This thing has to kill the CV if he wants to get the kill, otherwise the Abrams will get it. Aim strain is saying dead. We got the kill there. There's another kill. That was another logistics unit, considering the fireball that erupted from that vehicle. And once the enemy has reached Charlie, the game is pretty much up. There is just not that much that you can still do. Oh, there's the Rover. This is the one I was looking for. The Rover RBS 90. It was all the way out here to prevent any kind of side incursion. Right now it's being pushed towards the middle, where hopefully with its longer range missiles, 2800, it can provide challenges to the AA, or to the aircraft that are constantly flying over Delta. You can see just how effective all of those airstrikes are. I'm not sure who was commanding those jets, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's Chaos Meddler, who's gotten 560 points. HC comes in. Yep, Chaos Meddler, F5B. And another one comes in. Another time, Chaos Meddler. That did not kill the tank. I failed to refuse that that killed the tank. Or I failed to admit that that killed the tank. Yep, Conqueror's got it. Probably with the last missile, they have been able to kill the Abrams. You can see them being moved away, and that was another high value kill from Chaos Meddler. Another kill from these F5Bs, and just the sheer speed at which these things can be turned around is astounding. They are trying to be challenged by the Mistral here. The Harrier has managed to get one hit on them, but it seems to have been hit in return. And now they're doing a bit of a dogfight with the Harrier biting the dust due to a very heavily damaged and panicked F5B hitting it with autocannon fire of all things. Dogfights like those are pretty rare. The other F5B has been repaired, comes in, and again manages to come out unharmed and just keeps nailing kills after kill after kill after kill. Let's see what Shota's up to. He says we need to take down this Mi-4, according to Bozza. This Mi-4 AV, not the best attack helicopter, especially not the prettiest one. It's not particularly lethal in any standard situation, but this is tactical. And with 57mm rocket pods and carrying 96 rockets, you can get a lot of punishment in on infantry. Malyutka's generally not that big of a threat unless you have no AA, and this thing can fire the Malyutka from about 1,000 meter range very accurately. Draken tries to come in, did not get the hit, and gets hit in return. This is Shota's Draken, by the way, and he gets hit. Not just that, but he gets killed off. Shota has immediately pinpointed the location of AA, and I'm really waiting for the Bacan to start firing again. You can see that the Bacan is one hungry artillery unit. I'm not sure if he filled up his Scania already, but the fob is about to go empty, meaning that he only has 14 rounds left, so he really has to start picking his targets very, very carefully. Volkskamjäger, all the way in the back, are now trying to get close to the bridge, or at least trying to get closer to the fob, or whatever positions that they might have over there. And of course Chaos Meddler comes in yet again with the F5B. And he's now going for another Recon vehicle, which gets killed off. Not really any challenge other than the RBS 90, which has not been able to, or it might have been able to hit. I think it was the Mistrals actually. So yet again, the F7B makes it out alive. Super Etendar comes in and gets, sorry, not Super Etendar, Etendar IVM comes in, drops some bombs on the Commandosi, but I wouldn't be surprised if they still survived that. Charlie secured by an enemy, so they still have control of Charlie, although not by much. The Bacan is still firing, probably his last few rounds, considering that FOB only has 800 points left. You can see that one round gets fired off, and immediately the thing takes about 100 points of supplies off of the FOB. The Bacan opens up, firing at... where's that? The forest? Oh yeah, there's quite a few targets of opportunity there as well. Camp Shrimmer, a couple of Sappergy, SPG 9Ds. These are pretty rare. Not really getting a kill, but definitely panicking these guys. Heavy Hog from Bjarnis is trying to punish the units that come here, and finally, one of those F7... what was the F7A? The rocket pod plane died. Chaos is pushing him with the F7Bs, which are now also getting heavily threatened by Aimstrain Phantom 2, but not quite getting the kill. And they both make it out alive. And considering that Red has nothing left, no tanks, no real good infantry, just one AA unit that with a few missiles left managed to get the Heavy Hog, the game is pretty much up for Red. So let's push this up, speed it through, and oh god, you have to be kidding. Yeah, I think that Chaos got another kill. Look at this guy. There's another airstrike. Yep, he got another kill. Incredible. Chaos has gotten 1,030 points out of the 2,650 for his team. So he has done an incredible amount of damage, considering that he is just one of the 10 players, and normally you get about, oh, I don't know, 500 to 800 points in a 10v10 tactical. Challenger pushes in, and again Chaos Meddler keeps harassing this thing, even with strafing runs. The amount of damage that this guy has got, and the sheer size of his balls for constantly doing strafing runs on whatever is in sight, including AA units, I gotta say, tip to the hat for Chaos Meddler, as he has been able to do an incredible amount of damage. Finally, the Volskamjägers have arrived. Better late than never. And they are now trying to position themselves so that they can either intercept units coming from the spawn zone, or that they can spot whatever is in Bravo. So let's see what they exactly can spot. They can spot the CV, although there's probably the spotters from the Commando Para here. Volskamjäger are pushing through, but have their weapons turned off. So they can now see exactly what is coming in. Although at this point, it doesn't matter, as the game's up. So, that was Shota there. 683 points gained, 115 lost. The other guys, let's have a look at Chaos Meddler. He lost actually a bit more than expected, but I think that is due to his teammates leaving. Sad Boy left, Stir left, TC1000 left, or TC100, and Boris Johnson, leaving all of those units to be commanded by Chaos Meddler. So this is why he lost as many units as he has. That was definitely not due to poor management of his aircraft. As for the kill list, the Bacan 1C got kills on 4 command vehicles, 1 Tor, 1 Buck, 1 Shelka, so he managed to neutralize quite a lot of AA. Although that advantage was not really taken by Blue. The amount of kills that he got on AA units was not exploited, because I saw absolutely no sense of any kind of artillery or any kind of helicopter or airplane push over on that right flank of blue. You could say, well, he might not want to be pushing with helicopters considering all of those F-7As and F-7Bs. And yeah, I'd be with you right there. That's probably why he did not get pushing through. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that match. It's not usual for me to show off artillery matches, but it is definitely effective. And considering that he got 683 points with one unit, I'd say that that is quite the nice markup. So let me know what you think of this game in the comments, and if you have any other of those peculiar tacticals that you may be using units in that are not that likely to be fielded, be sure to send them over, because they make for great video material. Hope you enjoyed, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon for the next video.